guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. For those of you who are new here, my name is Steph, and today I am going to be sharing with you all my weekly report for week 46. I did actually look up what report stands for. So it's R is for reading, E is for eating, P is for playing, O is for obsessing, R is for recommending, and T is for treating. So I'm gonna actually run down this in the correct order this week. So if you want to know what I have been up to and what the weekly report is for week 46, keep on watching. Okay, let's start with books because I think this is like the biggest section always of these because I am in my reading girl era. I just became an ARC reader, which is like an advanced reader's copy person. And I have 3 books queued up for that, so I'm going to talk about that in week 47 because I just got them. I just got approved for them, and I have to read them in the next 5 days, 3 books in 5 days. So that's going to be really interesting to do. But yeah, I'm excited. That happened this week, and I'll actually like start it next week. Like I'll tell you about it more next week. So I finished The Iron Queen, which is the Iron Fae 3. I really had to force myself to read this book because my curiosity for like how the plot went outweighed how little I was actually enjoying the prose of the book, I guess, for lack of a better word. I think I just like really don't like how like the main character Megan is written. She is neither a strong woman nor is she like a damsel in distress. In my opinion, I'm sure somebody's gonna like feel like it's different, but for me, she is not strong enough in her own mind and her own wants and her own needs and her own desires to like drive the plot forward with that. But then she is not a damsel in distress to like let somebody take care of her. So she is left constantly like trying to be strong by pushing away somebody, but then she can't do it for herself. And after 3 books of it, it gets really frustrating. I think the first book was okay because there was like, she was like ignorant, she didn't know like all of this, but after 3 books, like she's lived in the Fae world, she's involved with the Fae prince, like her best friend is the Robin Goodfellow of like legends and all of this sort of stuff. She doesn't know anything still. Like she doesn't want to know, she doesn't try to know, she doesn't try to do anything to help herself. And it would be one thing if she was doing it in like staying ignorant in the pursuit of a normal mortal life. But she has determined that she can never go back. And she just refuses to like move the puck along with her life, you know? Like just, I don't know, there's something about her where it feels like she is just, there is a level of incompetence to how she's written. Like the character itself has some incompetence that's not like endearing. It's not, you know, like it's just not, it's not believable. Like in the like you can suspend your disbelief in like a lot of cases, but with this one I'm really struggling to be like, how could the person she's like wanting to, like the person who's like I guess in love with her now, not like be taking her education more seriously? How is she not taking it like all of these things? Like you find out so many things about like her origin, but then she doesn't explore what that means further. And just, yeah, it just really bothers me. Like how she actually like exists in the world is like very ignorant, and I don't love that for her. I also don't love the fact that like even though like the main love interest Ash is obviously into her, he's obviously not over his first love either, and like in book 2, this is what like really pissed me off, was like he's upset with Megan for like being excited to see Puck, like her friend and all of this sort of stuff, but then he's like in this freaking castle or like thing where they used to hang out, and he's like sitting amongst the flowers as like the shape of his former love is there, and he's like looking up like heartbroken, and it's like, so he does this sort of stuff, but then he's mad when Megan is a little bit like, oh, I don't know. Like, and like she just like the author like never writes Ash like getting over the love, like his new love for Megan like is enough. Like it's always like but like this and it's always a callback and it's always this, and Megan never goes, but she's not here anymore. I'm not her. Like I'm me. Like take me for who I am, love me for who I am, and like don't treat me like I'm her. I'm not her. But like, you know, it's just like really frustrating because like the way the characters are written, I guess, like what really frustrates me is the characters are written in these neither here nor there sort of places. Like Megan is never really committed to her fae life, and or is never really like committed to figuring out her human life. Ash is never really committed to Megan, nor is he really ever. And then when he does kind of commit, Megan starts to push him away again, and it's like, oh my god. Oh, it just like really bothers me. I think like because I don't know, I just think like I think in books like the characters like wants and wills are like really important, and like this is just like the will is not clear, I guess, to me, and I don't love it. I think it just bothers me. I think maybe it's just like the person I am, but like I think confusion is one thing. When a character doesn't know what to do, who to trust, who to love, like whatever, I think that's fine. But Megan determines quite quickly who she loves, and Ash hasn't, it seems. Even though he sort of has, he kind of hasn't at the same time. And anyways, yeah, really bothers me. The second book that I read this week was King of Wrath, which is the first book in the King of Sins series. There's going to be 7 books, each a book for each deadly sin. This was really good. I think the way it's kind of written, I like a little bit of a moral, like in fiction, not in real life obviously, but in fiction I do love like a morally gray love interest. The I will kill for you, not I will die for you sort of person. I mean, I will die for you is really romantic, but I will burn the world for you is the standard I set. So it's a like billionaire romance with an arranged marriage situation. Like obviously arranged marriages are not for me personally. I think some people will think they're great, some people won't. It's a cultural thing at that point. I'm not going to speak on arranged marriages, but I gave this book honestly like I think it's like a 9 out of 10 for easy reading. So far it is the favorite of the ones that I've read so far, even though it's not the one nominated in the Goodreads like 2023 book of the year thing. King of Pride is, which is the second one. I think that's really interesting. I thought that King of Wrath was better. But yeah, 10 out of 10 for like steamy romance. I love the interracial relationships at play in these books. Like I really appreciate the author for writing characters who are like Asian, Chinese and stuff, and having it be a part of who they are without it being like a driving storyline. I think it's like very frustrating when authors write characters like POC-ness into as a like major plot point. Like her being Chinese was never an issue in their relationship. What was the issue in the relationship was the cultural expectations affecting her family dynamics, but it was like a family dynamic issue, you know? It wasn't the cultural dynamics, it was like how her father was operating under, you know. It was good for me. I liked it. That goes into King of Pride, which is the second one. I personally didn't like this one as much, maybe because I just prefer a little bit of a morally gray man's to suspend my disbelief. Kai in this is honestly, like, he seems perfect to a certain extent. He's very much like King of Pride gives Nicholas Young from Crazy Rich Asians, but in like where instead of becoming like a prof, he actually like took up his seat in the family companies, you know? So it's kind of like that. It was good, don't get me wrong, but the first bit I was like really into it. In the middle, like the 30 to like 60% mark, I had a kind of a hard time with it, and then once I passed into like 70%, I was back sucked into it, and I was like, let's figure this out, let's go. So overall it was good. I think just the middle, I don't know what it was. I think the middle was where there was not as much rising action as there could have been in the middle. I think that's the thing. There was good exposition, good inciting incident, and then the rising action was like it was truly like the rising action was slow, and then the climax of the book was what like sucked me back in. And I think that's just me personally, like, you know, going through that, but like the build up to the climax, it was there, but it wasn't like, I don't know, like, I think in the first, like, in King of Pride, there was so much more tension in the book in terms of, like, there was, like, they didn't know what's going on, like, there was conflict, there was strife, there was a lot of time spent, like, watching, like, reading, like, how the characters, experiencing how the characters were falling for each other, whereas this, it was, like, kind of like, okay, boom. And the rising action was spent delving into them, which is great. But I think we needed more, you know, more tension, more obstacles. There wasn't enough like issues. Okay, then I read Game of Malice and Greed, which is the Game of Malice and Greed one. I don't know if there's going to be another. It seems, sorry, I'm just like lighting change. It's so nice, but it's just like hitting me. Okay. I don't know if there's going to be more of these. It's not on Goodreads if there's going to be more, but the book was just launched in March of 2023, so we'll kind of see. It took me a minute to get into this book. I think most of it was my fault because I would read it at like late at night to start, and I would be kind of like half distracted. I would be like dozing or zoning out in pages and stuff like that. So I just didn't get into the story. But once I think there's like the other thing is the book is written from 4 POVs. I think personally, I like a 1 to 2 POV sort of max book. For the most part, unless we are following like a band, like a troupe. But these were like 4 like disjointed POVs for a little bit, and I just didn't see how it came together. And then I saw how it came together, and I was like, it was fine. It was good. I was excited for all of the things. But it is primarily written from like the 2 main men's point of view, and I think the way the authors wrote the guys was okay. But yeah, it did take a while, and then there was like a crazy plot twist at the end, and I want to know what happens. So it was good after a while. I think I just did myself dirty and didn't like give it a fair shot in terms of like when I was reading it and stuff. Okay, next, you guys know from last week that I was listening to ACOTAR, and I called ACOTAR A Court of Roses and Thorns. It's a Court of Thorns and Roses, ACOTAR. Like, I obviously know this, but I finished it. I actually finished it I was like kind of limping through it for like a week, and then yesterday and the day before, I hit the point in the book where Feyre starts to realize her feelings, and upon rereading this, I really like the books. I like the later books a lot better than I like ACOTAR, like the first book. I think I like the book I'm reading now, which is the second one, a lot more than I like ACOTAR, because I find the main dude in the first one, Tamlin, I don't love him. I sort of loved him at the beginning. Like, when you read it the first time, you really suspend your disbelief and you don't pick up on things. But the second time round, now that or like the third time round, I think I'm reading it, like, the more aware I am of like the clues and everything like that, I'm picking up on more, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's a really great series. I love ACOTAR, but I think, well, she purposely writes him, Tamlin, to be this, like, he's like Dane in Fourth Wing. Like, he's a very frustrating character after a while, so you kind of just gotta gut it out. But yeah, because of the Tamlin focus, I was like mid until I realized like where we were in the story, and I was like, ooh, okay, here we go. Like, let's do it. But yeah, I don't want to, like, if you guys are just watching this to like see what I'm reading, I don't want to spoil ACOTAR too much, because if you haven't read it, it's such a great book to read. I like really recommend it. And like anybody who has read ACOTAR will tell you that like the Tamlin plot points are just like really frustrating after you like learn what's happening. Okay, in progress, King of Greed. I've sort of started this, I sort of haven't started it, but like the last 2 days, like Saturday, Sunday, I just completely tunnel visioned on ACOTAR. And I think because I got COVID this week as well, like, earlier last week. I was like really like, no, like I was down for the count. So anything that I read like earlier in the week, like King of Pride and stuff like that, where I was like sick, and I wasn't so sick that I couldn't read, but I was like really nauseous if I stood up for some reason. So I was like lying flat for like a good portion of the early part of the week. So anything I read in the earlier part of the week, I got to it, and then in the back half of the week, I was, back to work and starting to like get going again and stuff. And then also like the ACOTAR ACOTAR just sucked me in. So anything else kind of after Thursday got a little bit squashed, but I am excited to read this. It's the third book. I think only 3 are out right now in this series. So I think I'm gonna try and finish this so that I'm caught up to where the series is, and then move on, because I have so many books on my to-read list and my 3 like ARC books that I have to get through. So we'll see. The next one is A Crown This Cold and Heavy, Kingdom of Lies, book 3. I am so excited to read this book, but like the need to know what happens next in ACOTAR was just too strong. I like could not put the book down, even though I know what happens, obviously, but like I haven't read it for a couple years, so the details coming back to me, I was just like, I gotta know. So I did myself really dirty. I'm so excited for this book. This is another book where I know that like once I get into it, I like will not be able to put it down. And the 4th book in the series has been announced, so it's not a trilogy, it's at least a quartet, if not a quintet. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I really want to read it. I'm just like so deep in ACOTAR again that I'm just like, oh god. So yeah, speaking of ACOTAR, the next thing is A Court of Mist and Fury, which is ACOTAR 2. It's what I'm currently reading right now. This, I think, is maybe one of my more favorite books of ACOTAR, and even like Throne of Glass and stuff, because, well, where in ACOTAR and in like, in Throne of Glass, like, she's like the main character, I'm not gonna like spoil it. She's always kind of strong. Feyre in ACOTAR is not always strong. And this is the book where she makes the pivotal decision to like either like live a life of like comfort and quiet, or live a life, like capital L-I-F-E, life. And this book is like the empowering, like she empowers herself sort of situation. And I love these sorts of books because I think, well, I love a strong female lead in a book regardless. I think in novels, women are portrayed how I think we as society wish we could exist. Strong, fearless, empowered, able to defend ourselves, like kick ass, like all of this sort of stuff, right? I think like the escapism in that is amazing. But I also love the books where we have the main character who is the damsel in distress, and then at some point in the book or the series realizes that no, she doesn't want to be the damsel in distress. It's actually frustrating to her to be the damsel in distress. She's tired of the people around her coddling her and not pushing her and supporting her. And she goes, fuck you, fuck this, like I'm going to become who I want to be. And Avatar, the journey of that is very much like the main character. She like finds it in herself to become like who she wants to be. And I'm at the book where this starts to happen, and I'm like, go girl. All right, let's move on from my books, because I've talked about for 20 minutes. Eating, I have been nomming down ginger cookies and ginger ale all week because, like I said, one of my weird COVID symptoms this round was nausea and like dizziness and stuff. I had more of like either like neurological or like more stomach virus sort of symptom round. Now I've had COVID I think 3 or 4 times now. You can say it exists or not. I have tested positive for it like 3 times. So whatever the virus actually is, I've tested positive for it. But the first time I had really terrible COVID, I had a fever for a whole week straight. Then I had neurological symptoms, super dizzy, tons of fatigue, COVID brain fog. The second time I got COVID, I had, what did I have? I had a cough and like 1 day of fevers, tons of fatigue and stuff, but it was like 2 days and I was done. The next time, I'm not sure if this was COVID or not. It's like undetermined, but it's probably most likely COVID because it's like what's going around a lot. I had 4 days of like an intense runny nose and a fever. And then this time number 4, I had like chest pain, and then I had like the nausea and dizziness and stuff. And then once that was gone, just a little bit of chest pain, coughing and stuff like that, and then I was kind of fine. So yeah. But because of the nausea, ginger was my bestie. Yeah. For playing, I have still been, because I was sick, I didn't really do a lot this week. I have been watching The Expanse kind of in the background of things because it's very good, and because I haven't been feeling my best, I've been taking it kind of easy on work, so kind of when I want something in the background or whatever, I'll throw on The Expanse. I am now on season 5, and I'm just absolutely flying through this. I think I've watched 3 seasons in 2 weeks, I think, so it's been a good go-to for me. The other thing that I've been kind of playing, well, there's a couple things. Makeup, I have just really been enjoying playing around with makeup. I've been especially loving like red lipstick or like making glittery eyeshadow looks and stuff because of the holidays, and it's just been so much fun. I just can't say enough good things. And then I actually started writing, I write because of my blog and stuff all the time, but I actually started writing, like creative writing project. And like since I was like 18, 19, like university, I have written a lot, like between the blog, between my poli-sci degree, like I've always done like a lot of writing, but I haven't done like, well, I took some creative writing classes in university, but the bulk of my creative writing happened in high school English and high school like writing classes and stuff, and I just haven't really taken on a consistent creative writing project since like 2nd year, 3rd year university, whenever I last took a creative writing course. And I have started like dabbling around again in a bit. I think definitely since the end of university, most of, like all of my writing, not a single one of it has been like fiction writing. It's been blog writing, or it's been like website copy and stuff, and that's totally fine. But I have just really let that like muscle become really rusty, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, in high school I was always either entering or being submitted for creative writing competitions at the school or like through other schools and stuff, so it was definitely a big part of like my academic experience, I guess, for lack of a better word, because of that. And like I just missed it, and I was kind of like, well, I read so much fantasy and I read so much fiction and I read so much creative writing, and I've been reading a couple books recently that I just have started to notice that I'm not, you know, like when you start to like read something, and I guess I'm at the point where I can no longer suspend the disbelief like through kind of like not like a slow section or whatever. It's just, maybe I can, but like I'm just starting to notice like, oh, this was slow and I think this would have been better. And I was like, you know what, instead of just like sitting here critiquing somebody, like put pen to paper, like take action. Like it's hard to write a book, and I was like, why don't I just like play around with it and get back into that, because there's no sense in me just sitting here going, oh, like I could do this better, ha ha ha. Like I was like, no, like actually get to it. And it's been really nice. It's been really therapeutic. I think I'm on day like 3 or 4 of it, I think, right now as I'm writing this, starting on to like week 47. But it is like, I know it's difficult to write, but like it is way more difficult than I expected it to be. And what is so interesting is I know what I want. I know what I want to happen, right, in my creative writing little project that I'm doing. But I don't know how to say what I want to do. And that's like the hardest thing I think always about writing, is how do you say it? How do you do it? So I started that, and then I started a writing class because of that, because I was like, well, if I learn how to organize the thoughts going on in my head for this project, then maybe it'll help me like build a structure to like formulaically sort of like work out the little bit of like, it's not really writer's block because I know what is happening. I just want to express it better and more like smoothly. So yeah, but I also, it's great because it's like when writing, it's always like, I think it's the constant battle of being like, it's not going to be perfect the first time. It's not going to be perfect, but just get the idea down. Refine it later, tune it later, and like that process of being like, it's not going to be perfect, just like let it come out like first take. And I haven't done that in so long, where I've been like, all right, like get it all out, like it doesn't matter, get your idea, blah blah, blah, and like edit, refine it. Like you have unlimited, I have unlimited amount of time to refine it. I'm not doing anything with it. So yeah, whereas like website copy, I have a deadline and I've got to like, you know, push through. So yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting. It's been great. I personally have been really enjoying it, and the way I'm so wrapped up in the story in my head, like the way it's consuming my brain is so nice. I just, you know, just it's just nice to have something like of my own, like that's, I haven't really told anybody about what it is about or anything. Like I've told you guys that I'm writing, told my boyfriend that I'm writing, but nobody knows. Like it's for me, like it's just yeah. So I'm gonna jump down to like recommending, which is, one, if I'm gonna recommend anything, it's to have a project or a hobby or something that you're looking forward to that is yours, that you don't feel compelled to scream to everybody or share or whatever, because having, and it's not to keep it a secret, right? Like obviously like my boyfriend knows what's going on, he just doesn't know like the details of it. But sometimes it's okay to just like do things like for yourself, like with yourself, by yourself, like that nobody else really needs to be aware of. I'm obviously sharing it with you guys because it's like a big part of my week, but honestly, if I wasn't doing the series, I don't think I would have told you guys. So I would just recommend that. Like it's so nice to have something that's my own, that's like just my own, you know. But yeah, all right, let's go back up to obsessing. I'm still obsessing over Notion. I use it for everything. I use it for like organizing. I am literally reading my notes on Notion to you guys. I use it for my to-do list, my calendars, all that sort of stuff. I can't say enough good things. I have a affiliate link in the bio if you want to join it, but like I'm just genuinely using it. I use it every single day, and like I also am obsessed still with using my iPad as like the sidecar feature as the second thing. So I'll run Notion on my iPad and then like work on my computer, and it is amazing, especially like if I'm writing my book, which is my creative writing project. I think I'm gonna write a book. I'm just plodding away at something, but I keep my outline and like my lore and everything like that up on one side, and then I have the book going on my computer. And because I haven't fully filled out everything in the outline either, like it's not flushed out yet, because I was like, I have ideas for this, so I want to like, you know, so I just quickly did an outline, wrote it down, and then got to work here, and then as ideas come on either side, I'll fill it in. It's great because I just quickly flop back and forth if I want to double check something, if I want to add something, if I want to build whatever. Like it's great for that purpose as well. The other thing I'm going to recommend to you guys, beyond having a little project that's for yourself, is to have it stack with audiobooks. I absolutely love reading, as you guys know, but like I've said, I've been listening to R.E.P.O.R.T, and one of the big things that I love to do is I love to listen to my audiobook while folding my laundry. It just makes folding laundry so much better. I'm so excited to fold my laundry now because I am like jazzed about listening to my audiobook, but it's a fun little habit stack. And also I think I used to watch TV while doing this, and I've had a thought recently about my personal like mental state, my mental health, my mental clarity, like all of this sort of stuff, my memory even. I'm not sure why, but I think when I like stopped watching TV as my sole like entertainment source, like outside of social and all of this sort of stuff, when I added books back in, because I think I'm using my imagination and my mind and everything, like I'm really working these muscles like to create images in my head and to like visualize and all of this sort of stuff. I don't know, it just like I feel better. Could just be me because I'm this sort of person where like I, with like the ADHD and stuff, like need to be like a little bit engaged kind of at all times to like keep it like from spiraling. But I really like it. I like having my brain a little bit more engaged. And even though an audiobook, like obviously you're not reading the words, but even listening, you're still conjuring the images in your head. It's a little bit more active. Like my brain is a little bit more involved, and it's kind of been like a nice like change of pace, I think, for the last year, definitely like the last 3 months, like doing this, like definitely since the August. So I would recommend, I don't know, something about when I am, even though I'm taking like the time off or resting or whatever, like when my resting is still positive, I really enjoy that. Like I know that TV is great, and I watch like TV, don't get me wrong, but TV is very like vegetative. You don't really like, it doesn't really engage your mind the same way that reading does. So I've just kind of noticed by like changing over like the weighting I have on TV to like books or audiobooks or whatever, I don't know, it just has, I don't know, maybe my brain more like likes it, or it gives me more to chew on. Like I can live more in the fantasy world of the books than I can in like TV or something. But yeah, I don't know, couldn't tell you. But it's worked for me, so I want to recommend it if you guys, as I think especially if you are struggling with anxiety, because I had like really bad anxiety for probably like 6 weeks, from like mid-September all the way through till I think Halloween, pretty much, maybe even just after Halloween. But I had really bad anxiety, so I don't know, I just noticed that by not watching as much TV, not having that much like visual stimulation, just more like reading slow, like that, like no pressure, like figuring out that sort of stuff. Yeah, that like really helped me. The other thing that really helped me was I got like, I guess because I've been like focusing on watching like one TV show as like a running like story arc as well. So kind of like actually working my way through some shows, and that superficial like working down the to-do list has really helped as well. Now, I don't watch as much TV, so this isn't like I'm not like chunking through like thousands of episodes or whatever, but I found like, because I started The Expanse, or from like season 2 or whatever, but I've been watching it and like seeing myself work my way through and having that kind of like superficial progress has really helped as well for some reason. So between like the books and like just focusing on one thing and like kind of working through that task, even if it is like watching a TV series or putting like whatever it is, right? Like that superficial task, that's really helped me. Even like just taking like the I Hate My Wardrobe episodes, like doing that one thing to like work towards the bigger goal, but it's a step, it's a progress, it's, you know, that has really helped me in the last 6 weeks. Okay, treat. The last thing is I ordered a fun little makeup bag from Summer Fridays. It's coming in the mail. I'm really excited for it. It'll be really cute. And that's everything. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this weekly report for week 46. Please give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video.